Right now, when you hit max level in Destiny, a chunk of your incentive to keep playing kind of diminishes, at least for a fair few players in the community. And today I wanted to talk about how Bungie could look at relatively easy updates to keep players engaged. Right now, we kind of hit that max light level as endgame players within a month or two of a major release like Rise of Iron, and for us players who do that, the incentive to keep playing does drop off to a degree. I know that it's not the be-all and end-all of the game, but still having to work on your light level really helps to keep players engaged. For people who play less, the light level grind will be a lot slower, so there are a fair amount of people who are still working on reaching 400 light, for example. This poses a few issues if you want to constantly raise the light level, but there are also some good options to improve this as well. So what I think we should see in Destiny would be a light level increase of 15 points, just like we saw in the April update, but I think it should happen every 2 or 3 months in the game. So this would be a pretty good thing, because obviously it would allow more of that constant progression feeling which people expect to see in a game like Destiny right now. And if certain activities were brought up to the right level, it could also give some of those endgame elements more viability over time. I think also that these light level bumps could run alongside events that we see in the months throughout the year. So if Bungie ran events such as SRL and then within a month or so after them bring the light level up, this could potentially work really well, and I'll explain what I mean. So we have SRL coming up very soon. For any players who want to reach the max light level and aren't already, they could run SRL and the December Iron Banner to level up, and then say in the second week of January when the event's over and we're wondering what to do, the light level could go up to 415 for example. Through the quiet period early in the year, we could slowly progress to that new light level, and then if Crimson Days drops in February, it'd be a great way to drop more endgame level gear along with that month's Iron Banner, and players who are a bit behind on light progression could catch up to that level. And then say in March, the light level could increase to 430 light, and you can kind of see where I'm going with this. By having the light level increases and then events planned towards the end of each light level season, it could allow a bit of catch up for players who don't hit that level ultra fast. Even though for most hardcore players it won't take super long to level up, I feel like across the community as a whole it would be a great way to keep players coming back. Also with regular light level changes, it would make events feel more integrated, as long as they somehow include endgame level drops just like the Iron Banner does. The events would definitely have to have enough unique items associated with them as well though, to ensure that they were actually interesting to players who are already max level, but with the current model of events, and considering a lot of the stuff is vanity based, all they'd have to do is ensure that gear with high levels could also drop, even if it's not new stuff. What if they introduced a mix of Vanguard gear from Rise of Iron and Taken King, or even buff old drops like the IS Luna or the Party Crasher when Crimson Days comes out? Imagine if you had a better chance of getting those weapons inside of the Crimson Days events. There are tons of players who would really like that, and on top of light level changes, there are a lot of missed tricks inside of events in Destiny which could really be easily fixed, and things could be implemented to make them more engaging. With events being very much about microtransactions, I feel like the work that must go into, those design elements like ghosts, sparrows, emblems, and emotes is relatively a lot of work compared to just changing some numbers in the game, and surely if they can do all of the other stuff, then they could bump up the light level of the current endgame activities as well. Of course, I don't know the actual development process, I don't know what constraints they might have, but I do struggle to see how this would be super difficult in comparison, to making the other items that they have in events and make a fair amount of money off as well. Moving on though, since we're in the last few months of the game, I still believe they should bump up old raids and activities. Imagine if for the rest of the year, they firstly kept Wrath of the Machine as the endgame raid for the first light level bump, but then introduced things like Vault of Glass, Crota's End, and even King's Fall. There could be a 2 to 3 month period where each raid becomes relevant again along with its rewards. Maybe in the April update they could refresh an old raid and give it a new theme, but on the whole I think most players would just be incredibly happy to have a Year 3 Word of Crota or even a Fatebringer. Yes, those activities are playable, but there are a lot of people who've never really gotten into that content because they started playing later on in the game, and I know for a fact that a vast majority of players would absolutely love seeing old content and having these regular light level bumps. I know that Bungie do like to deliver new experiences, as they put it, but in reality that doesn't feel like it's really going to happen now until Destiny 2, and I know that there are development constraints, but again, they still make a lot of money off this game, and if they can focus on designing new UI and items for events, then surely they can bump up some numbers in the game as well. So there's a lot of stuff in this video, I know, but I think that the light level seasons would be a totally legitimate idea, especially going forward into Destiny 2, and I'd like to think that bringing back old gold raids was as well, but of course we'll have to see how lucky we get on that front. To summarize, there's just way too much stuff in the game which is irrelevant purely because of light levels and things like that, but it's still a fantastic experience, and I feel like at this point in the game, wouldn't it just be nice to have that final kind of endless summer of Destiny where we get the culmination of everything we've done in this game come together once again and kind of round off and finish the experience, this version of the game, before we move on to the next thing, because of course, you know, it's less than a year now until that next thing happens, or at least that is the likelihood. So anyway, there you go guys, these are my thoughts, a few ideas that I've been thinking about recently. Let me know down below if you think any of this could work in the game, or you know, anything else that you think would be good to see before the end of Destiny 1. If you have enjoyed the video though, a like is always appreciated guys. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe to see a lot more Destiny content, but for now, thanks for watching and you guys have an awesome day.